they just brought up your pizza place on Joe Rogan's podcast live with Elon Musk, and I was like, you scared the living X out of me. I thought someone died.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of The Pursuit of Purpose. My name is Chris Kiefer, and I am here with Dupree and Nehemiah, who recently are becoming well known in the pizza world because of a little bit on Joe Rogan's podcast when Elon was there, and they ordered a double anchovy, double pineapple pizza. So that is what that is the impetus or the reason behind this conversation. But first of all, Dupree and Nehemiah, thank you so much for being spontaneous and being like, yeah, we'll come on and talk about it.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
So I am curious, like, I guess, Nehemiah, you're probably the one that was like closest. I'm assuming you were not working at whatever time. It sounded, I don't know what time they recorded the podcast, but it seemed like it was late at night. But give us like the play-by-play of, just from your perspective, how you ended up finding out about this, and then like the aftermath days, hours and days later when you're like, oh my gosh,
So yeah, it started off as like a regular Tuesday. It was Halloween. I believe they had probably recorded it like the day before to broadcast it live on Tuesday. And I was usually like getting the day ready for the kids for Halloween and all that stuff. And I just so happened to stop by because we have two locations. So I'm at the Kyle location, kind of getting all the crew set up for the nighttime, so that way I can have the night off with the kids. And then Dupree calls me, the guy that's on the channel with us right now, and just starts like, "You need to call me right now." And I'm like, "Oh, of course I call him right away as soon as I see that text message." And he's like, "Is everything okay?" I was like, "Yeah, man, what's going on?" He's like, "You haven't heard?" I was like, "Dude, what's going on? What happened?" He's like, "Dude, like, are you serious?" And so he kept like kind of lingering on, like building up, like it was like first it was fear, then it turned into
I thought he was messing around that he didn't know.
yeah. And he's like, they just brought up your pizza place on Joe Rogan's podcast live with Elon Musk, and I was like, you scared the living X out of me, man. I thought someone died. He's like, no, that's better than that. I was like, what? I was like, so that's pretty much what happened when it kickstarted that day. Is that my buddy here freaking called me and he let me know, and then not even after I got off the phone, 5-6 minutes, and that's when everything started. Like reviews were coming in, followers on like Instagram started happening, and I was just like, whoa. And so it just it kicked off pretty much an accelerated Tuesday after that brief phone call with my buddy of mine.
So that's interesting. You had no idea that you had delivered the pizza, so they were just a random. And do you guys deliver, or did someone come pick it up?
We do deliver, but at that moment they had came and pick it up. They came and called to pick up for a pickup. So a gentleman, one of my employees, told me that when they came to the window, they were like, "Hey, just so y'all know, this is for a celebrity." And they're like, "Okay, cool. Like who?" Like one of the employees that told me, she said that they had said that they can't say, but if they like your pizza, you'll know about it. And sure enough, that was the that moment where they had ordered. It was like 11:30 at night. I think the reason why we got this opportunity to even be able to serve it, because when they were doing the podcast, there's not a lot of pizza places that are open past like 9 or 10 o'clock. And we close at midnight, and it's out of a food trailer. It's one of our pizza trailers that we started up back in 2020.
That's awesome. So like what I want to, or just context for you guys, the review world, that's what my wife and I started this business where we have a software that helps businesses generate reviews. So we're deep into, like, I know far more about Google reviews than I care to know about, and also like just way more than the average person. But I looked up, so from my perspective, someone told me, hey, listen to this. I always am, I am very intrigued by what Elon Musk is going to say in public and on Twitter and all that stuff. And then there's several people who are like, Chris, have you heard the Elon podcast with Joe Rogan? So I finally listened to it yesterday or the day before. And as soon as I heard just the way that it went down on the podcast, first of all, if they hadn't ordered a double anchovy, double pineapple pizza, which is, to me, that's absurd. I've never heard of that. I was actually going to ask you guys, is that a pizza that is semi-frequently ever ordered? Had you heard of that before?
I mean, like maybe once a year. You do get occasionally like people love anchovies, and when they love them, they'll ask for them on the pizza. They'll ask for them on the side. So you'll get occasionally, but not pineapple double pineapple, double anchovy pizza.
Right.
That's a
That's a real one for sure.
rarity.
Because I was going to say the fact that it was this absurd type is one thing that helped you, and then the other thing was that it was super late and that they then ordered it in the show, and then so it's like all these novelty things that came together, and then Joe Rogan's just like, oh man, this is great, shout out pizzas
Yeah.
I own, and it's like that's it, and I was like immediately I went and looked you guys up, and I saw that you had around, it was like 120 reviews or
Right.
something when I first noticed, and in the course of the next 24 36 hours I was like, oh, here comes the onslaught of reviews, because then you start reading them and they're just
Right.
hilarious,
Yeah.
of all these people just posting funny
Yeah.
things. But what I would say in looking, I then just looked up like pizza in Austin, and there's pizza restaurants in Austin with like 9,000
Right.
reviews. Like, it's insane. They must have been in business for 20 years and they're large places. And so, first of all, it seems like a hyper competitive market for pizza. And so I would love for you guys to talk about what is the vibe in that area. Where are you guys located in comparison to, I'm assuming that nobody knows where Joe Rogan's studio is exactly. But like tell me a little bit about the pizza life in Austin.
Here in Austin, man, there's like I said, you kind of hit it dead on. It's the market here is pretty saturated, especially when it comes to like everybody that has that little like niche that they say about Austin, about keeping Austin weird. So you have like the mellow mushroom, and then you have like the different quirky names. You got Detroit style, you have Chicago, you have pan thin crust, you have Neapolitan style. So there's a saturated market when it comes to pizza here, and a lot of business owners that I've met that own pizzerias are like ex like chefs and things like that. So they've come in from like working in like their own pizzerias in and around Austin, and then started their own thing in Austin as well, and pizza trailers and their own like their you see family owned pizza places open up in like gas station restaurants, and there's one other place called Pizza Grotto that just got their own brick and mortar while being in a gas station for like 3 or 4 years. So as far as that the market here, it's pretty well filled up.
That's awesome. So then after you heard about this, so obviously Dupree, you heard it first. And how many days before had the pizza actually been ordered? Do you know? Was it 24 hours or 2 days before?
And it's for you, Maya. I think it was the night before they
That
had
was not
ordered it.
before, yeah.
Okay, so they released the episode on Halloween, and that's
Yeah, because
when,
I got
yeah, okay.
confirmation from everybody
So
that
then
it was
back,
ordered that night before. I talked to my guy and I said, "Hey man, do you remember a double pineapple and anchovy pizza being made?" He's like, "Yeah, I made that last night."
and he's like, yes, that's never
Yeah, and
happened
he's like,
before.
"Yeah." I was like, because of course that's not like a common pizza. You'd be like, "Hey, did you make a pepperoni pizza?" You're like, "Oh, which one?" But yeah, so yeah, he definitely remembered. And then one of my other employees I was working the cash register, she was like, "Yeah, he's the one that told me that it's for a celebrity. If he likes it, we'll know about it." And I was like, "Okay, that's interesting." And sure enough, after as soon as Pre calls me about that phone call, I'm like, okay, this all like gets put together like real.
Yeah. So Dupree, from your perspective, yeah, tell me how you heard about it, and what was your thought of like what's going to happen?
So I listened to the Joe Rogan podcast like everyone else, but the way I heard it, I was listening to a guy, Meet Kevin. He's got a podcast. He does like business and stocks and all that stuff. So he was doing like a play-by-play on the Joe Rogan podcast. And then earlier in the podcast, they were like kind of speaking about ordering a pizza. And then when they had said that, and I know he's in Austin, I was like, just in my mind, I was like, it'd be crazy if they ordered from, Nehemiah's Pizza. So I was just kind of listening, and then like 30 minutes later, when they finally went into it, and they're like, "Where's this pizza from?" And they're like, "Pizza Leone." I was just like, it was kind of like, at that very moment, I was like, "Oh shit!" Like I need to call him, and then so I called this guy, and right away I was like, I thought because the podcast was from the night prior, so like I thought he would have an idea of it. So the time that he was like, "No, I don't know what's happening or what's going on," I thought he was just messing around, but then we figured it out, and then I mean the crazy part is Joe Rogan itself is like insane, and then having Elon Musk like also eat it and try the pizza and stuff. That's like just another, like, you can't get better than that. That's like two of the
I read one of the podcasts, and it was like, if the richest man in the world likes your pizza, it's good
Yeah,
enough for me too. But that is great. Like, so Nehemiah, literally the wealthiest person on earth, is like, yeah, this is good pizza that hits the
yeah,
spot.
it was something that I kind of had to like to take a moment. It almost took me all day to still realize like this is actually happening because like I was telling Pretty, I was like, this is just something we weren't prepping for. It's just like we're just doing trying to do something to build a brand in the Austin area, and you know we're very. He taught me in the pizza industry and the restaurant industry early on when I was like in my early 20s that you know you just take it one pizza at a time. You just make that one pizza you make it the best you can every single time. That's the goal, and that's been a very
Strive for
very
perfection
small but
every.
yet big part of our success.
Yeah.
And the other thing I'm thinking is like, imagine, so you're not there. It's not like you made this. So just like a testament to you built a business, other people are working. They're working at 11 o'clock at night. Just another freaking pizza. You know, how many pizzas do you make? And like, you know, the chance of just like stuff is going wrong or like, whatever, you know, it's probably for some drunk guy. It's not even going to
Right.
care, you know, uh, like just the care to then have a fantastic pizza that then they're like, this is
Yeah,
freaking
man. It's
awesome.
just all about the little things, right? Standards, the ingredients we use, the process, cooking methods, it's all.
I would be curious what it tell us like in the last couple days. Obviously, 150 new Google reviews. What else like has there have more people ordered that
Oh,
pizza?
yeah.
Is there like was there significant jump in just like or pizza orders like crazy? Did you guys run out of anything? Like
So I'm the type of person that, like, especially after hearing something like what my buddy of mine right here, Dupree, told me like that same day, he's all gear up, and I was like, as soon as I hear like, especially him saying things like that, I don't take it for granted. And me being a person like that I am, especially him being a testament of how I was with working with him, you know, back in California, uh, you just start making things happen. You run out, but then you make the adjustments the next day. So like we when we went to like hear about this, we're like, we're not sure. So I was like, you know, I'll buy an extra couple containers of anchovies. Uh, and we went through that in like 6 hours. I'm like, okay, this how's gonna go down. So then I went the next day and bought a whole case, and I doubled up on the anchovy inventory, and then yeah, we were able to keep it. But yeah, we're getting a lot. We're getting a big surge on double anchovies and pineapple pizzas. We actually put it on our menu on our online site under the gourmet option. We put it under small. We called it the Joe Rogan Experience. So you can order a small Joe Rogan Experience, a medium Joe Rogan Experience, or a large Joe Rogan Experience. And they've been my guys at the truck is like, because you know when you eat anchovies, right? That's not like so appetizing or smelling for someone to actually like smell it in the pizza place. Like, ooh, who's cooking fish on a pizza, especially, right? One of my employees was like, Joe Rogan couldn't just say he loved cheese. So, and you know that is pretty. You
That's
know,
awesome.
I was gonna say I've never had anchovies. Had you guys had an anchovy pizza
so we
before?
actually I've had it
Yeah,
only
we've
made
tried
once,
all
but
that.
like not in a combination like this. But yeah, we
Same with you,
yeah. Go ahead,
Dupree.
Free.
Yeah, I've had it. Yeah, we you got to try all your ingredients and like anchovies and pineapple. It's a very it's a great mix if you think about it. Anchovies are very salty and they have a texture to them. Pineapple very got the sweetness and stuff, and then they're tart to them. So it's actually a very good mix. Like we had a customer that used to order like a combination pizza, and then he would add pineapples and anchovies to that pizza. But that was like the whole all the other toppings mixed in. But yeah, it's a good pizza to have.
Yeah, and I wanted this is I actually pulled this up to show the uh, example of what I was talking about with this because this is just like fantastic thing for now. Like the fact you put it on your menu, also great idea. Let me see if I can pull this up. So here's a if I do pizza Austin, Texas. So when you just like Google search, and this is again the thing that I think is so notable about this, and I don't, you guys may or may not have known this, but this is actually I have like a presentation that I give people, and this is like for everyone listening too. This is super interesting information in my opinion. But the if I just search for pizza Austin, Texas, right? That's where you're competing against these businesses that have 9.2 thousand, 2.6 thousand reviews. How long have you guys been in business? So you've been in business 3 years. Like it's really tough to compete with people on that scale, right? But you guys are 20. So one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. You're 27th ranked right now. And even when I checked yesterday, you guys were like 32. So you're moving up in the list just on pizza in Austin, Texas. primarily because of the, consistent reviews in the last couple of days. But what's more interesting is if I search for double anchovies, double pineapple pizza, which again, that's a very specific order, but after what just happened, that's not like, it's likely that this is going to come up. You guys are, where is it at right here? You're number 9 in Google search results as of today. If this keeps up for another couple of days, if someone in Austin is like anchovies, pineapple pizza, it's more likely to, show up. And you can even see this part, I think is super interesting, that it is Google shows the keyword that the person searched for in the review. You know what I mean? So anyways, that I think is that's again, why did I reach out to you guys? Because I was like, I talked to my wife. I was like, this is crazy. This is literally like when we give a presentation, we're like, if someone searched for pepperoni pizza, like look, and we show pizza as the example. So this was like the perfect example in a microcosm of days of just like, check out what's going to happen to this business. So I'll be curious to know in the next month, obviously there's going to be a surge, but I would love to know like how long is this going to happen before it just starts tapering down, and then obviously it's going to be now you guys have a thing. It's like I don't know if you guys have ever read the book Purple Cow by Seth Godin.
No.
Have you heard that?
No.
So Seth Godin is the marketing expert, and he always talks about nobody stops to look at cows on the side of the road because everyone's seen 100 cows, right? Thousands of cows. It's a cow. But if there was a purple cow, everybody's going to like stop and look at that purple cow. And you're going to have like traffic jams because people are stopping to look at this purple cow. And I feel like the double pineapple, double anchovy pizza, that's your purple cow. You
That's
guys just had this thing fall in your lap. And now,
That's
now
awesome.
everyone's going to know you guys. Obviously, they don't have to even order that. But now if I'm in Austin, like, because I live over in Idaho, but if I come down to Texas for a conference in a couple months, like of all the pizza places I could go to, I'm going to go to the Purple Cow, but I might not order. I might try a piece or a slice. I don't know if I'm going to go all in, but like I just think that is exactly what happened.
Right. No. Yeah. Yeah. That's absolutely. That's
So yeah, going back to like just you guys, I would be curious to know, tell us the backstory. You guys met in California in Bakersfield. Dupree, you were the one in the pizza business before. Like,
Yeah, so
how did you get into that?
I've been in it since I was 9. My parents had pizza places, and you kind of grow up into it. The place we met at was we called it Slice of Italy. So that was just kind of branching off the pizza thing and going into like more of a restaurant setting. So we had Italian food, pastas, and salmon and all those other things. That's where I think we're 2 weeks into the business. Nehemiah was a friend of my brother-in-law's. So that's all, we needed people. We just started a business, and he walked in. He had prior pizza experience working at a different pizza place, walked in, and then from that day, it was just, you could say we're friends. And then at times, brothers, at times where I was, not much older than, but almost like a dad at moments. The amount of time you spend together in a restaurant, only people in the restaurant industry would know. You're spending 12, 14 hours a day together, and you go through a lot of emotions. You go through a lot of, celebrations. You go through a lot of ups and downs, and, everything that life brings. So you get to know that person very well, and your bond, depending on how the relationship goes, it's, something that you have for life. And then I think what me and him have, it's, not just to say we work together or whatever. We spent a lot more time than we even did with our spouses or our kids.
Yep. This is true for sure.
And so what was, and for both of you, did you guys have like the specialty or like the best pizza on the menu, or like the one that was most unique, or the one that was like your marketing lever before? Or have you guys ever thought about that?
I think I think for us it was more of like just being in a traditional sense, and I think that's how you say the purple cow analogy. I think that's where we kind of, when you're taught, like I was taught at a very young age by a father who's like old school. So they drill different things into your mindset. That's where, like speaking of books earlier, like the Rich Dad Poor Dad sort of thing. If we did have a rich dad kind of teaching us like the other side of thing, marketing and the sense of having a purple cow, that would have helped us immensely in different sense, right? But we've kind of grown from where we were just in a traditional sense, make sure everything's like perfect. Like if there's like an olive that's next, like closer to another olive, we like move it and make sure, the pizza looks perfect every time. Like we take our time, we, strive for perfection. So ours isn't more like, oh, there's like a certain thing that we do as far as like a specialty product. It's more so everything we do is like perfection. Like our dough has to be perfect. The way we cut our cheese, the amount of pressure you put on it, the way we make our sauce, like, all the ingredients, it has to be perfection.
Yeah, and what about you, Nehemiah?
Yeah, that's exactly what makes our product unique is right. Is what he just kind of touched on is just the amount of attention to detail we put that some people would say is just like, oh, just you're just cutting bell peppers or you're just going to be slicing up mushrooms, place it on pizza. No, there's little steps within those steps that we take to prep our item, and then of course, like doing a lot of things that a lot of pizzerias don't do is we emphasize on saucing it to the edge and ingredients all the way to the edge. That way, you're getting that bite from start to finish versus just like having a few bites and then you have a big old like 3-inch crust at the end that you toss away because it's just bread. So we do a lot of those things, and then when I've grown to learn the product with this gentleman back in 2010, it was more of a sense of just kind of understanding like this is a product worth wanting to like make a career out of. And I was like in between that whenever like it was like a mixture of things when we first started with each other. It was just like my dad had just passed away. My wife was pregnant. Like so, it was like a lot of mixed things. I needed to kind of like, embed myself somewhere where I knew I wanted to, make something out of myself in the future. And of course, you don't think about that in the beginning, but when it starts kind of unfolding as you go along, you're just like, I know I felt from the beginning this product was special. You can even hear it in the customers itself on how delicious our crust is. Kind of like he said, what we do, the way we make our dough, the rise, it's just a lot of little things that make it special. Not the name of itself, I guess you would say, that can make people stand out. Like, oh, this is like a pizza that is New York style. We can't even call it any kind of style. It's more of just like family owned love that's kind of produced a product that can last for ages.
So if the Slice of Italy in Bakersfield, there's two locations, and then you have another location, Dupree, in Bellingham. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Yep. Bellingham, Washington. Yep.
And what's the name of that place?
Sliced.
Sliced. Okay, so we've got Sliced in Bellingham, Slice of Italy in Bakersfield, and then Pizza Leone. And there's two locations in the Austin area. Is that right?
One in Austin and one in Kyle, Texas. So it's just like a suburb of Austin, which is like 15 minutes south of that.
Got it. So my question would be: Are the menus of all these places, obviously Dupree and Nehemiah, you have different businesses, but are the menus between like Slice of Italy and uh, Pizza Leone, are they similar? Are the pizzas the same? Like, do you guys feel like you have? Is there the same menu options on at both places, or do you make your pizzas the same way?
Yeah, I would say exactly the same. So I think go ahead.
No, yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, it's just some things that I don't have yet because I'm still growing into our mango, which will be like adding the pastas and a lot more fried items and bar appetizers that we haven't gone to that level yet. But yeah, as far as the main like source
But the
product of pizza,
pizzas, yeah,
yeah, that's the exact same. We haven't changed any recipes,
100%
all that.
same. Yeah.
That's awesome. And so, obviously, there'd be no significant impact to your businesses, Dupree, because they have no idea. But I'm curious, Nehemiah, is there like, I don't know what the typical pizza truck brings in revenue in a day, but in the last 5 days, is this like a 1x, 1.5, 2x? Like, how much has business, just total revenue, like, how much have you seen things change since that mention?
I would say a definite 2x for sure, because there is a significant buzz and a lot of things that's going on over here. Um, the amount of outpouring that people have just because when that Joe Rogan experience podcast came out, it's just like some people get calls just like, hey, is this a place from the podcast that we're going to podcast with Joe Rogan? We're like, yeah, okay, thanks, bye. I'm like, what? So it's just like maybe they're just calling to make sure they're coming to the right place, or like we would just get like phone calls now, just like people curious on like, Elon ain't here, man. Is that true? I'm like, yeah. Is he there right now? I'm like, no, man, he's not here right now. So you get things like that. But yeah, as far as business like calls and like jibber jabber, people will call and just like it's just crazy amazing, man, to see
But
all this
I think
unfolding.
that's the impact. I think the worldwide impact, right? So there's a lot of places in the world where the understanding is different. You know, so he was showing me messages from like Australia or China or other people. Like, so their understanding of thinking, you know, where a place is or where a person is or where the celebrity is a little different than ours.
Yeah, I'm curious. Like to me, my mind immediately, and obviously you're trying to run a business, so the idea is one thing. Actually, executing on it is that's the hard part. But to me, I'm like, do you guys are there? What other plans have you even taken a step back to be like, what else could we do with this to like keep it alive or like milk this? But to me, I'm like, t-shirts. Like, can I get a t-shirt that just says double pineapple, double anchovies, and then it's like a caricature of Joe and Elon like that? To me, it's like those types of things, just a big graphic tee, and it says Pizza Land, Austin, Texas. Like, is that? Have you thought about stuff like that? Or you obviously have the Joe Rogan experience on the menu now, but I feel like there's other things that you could do to like ramp this up and make it exciting and just like a almost like a staple of like, oh, did you go to this crazy, food truck, and order this thing or buy this merch or whatever.
Yeah, and that's an aspect of that. What we have talked about and done will be like kind of just capitalizing on what this actually did for the business and like in general, because like being such a small business, right? We were like we don't have like the capital revenue to be able to kind of make those things happen within like a hiccups notice. But as far as wanting to plan for that, yeah, absolutely. There's been thoughts and there's been actually like a conversation that me and my wife even had to be like, we have a wall at our pizza place in Kyle that we want to just put like, this is awesome, and then put slash Elon Musk, like our pizza, double anchovy pineapple pizza. This is excellent, Joe Rogan, just to kind of have it on there to kind of make it when people walk through the doors, they're like, oh wow, this was a place that Elon Musk and Joe Rogan ate at. Like so that way, if they don't see that, then we can actually put under hyphenate under there saying like Joe Rogan Experience episode 2054, which whatever it was, so they can look it up when they go home, and then we're like okay. And kind of make things quirky like that. And like you said, hey, when you touched on that, that's kind of a good idea as far as the shirts wise. Double pineapple, double anchovies.
Yeah, it doesn't, and I feel like the random shirts that are like people are like what it's like if you know you
Right.
know that's kind of the cool part of having it,
Right.
because the other thing there, this is a random example, but in Coeur d'Alene where I live, there's a place called Jimmy's down the street, and the diners, drive-in diners and dives, whatever the name of it is, and Guy Fieri. So they paid, I don't even know. It was like 10 years ago. It was a long time ago. You have to pay to be on that show. And they paid, 20 grand or whatever the cost was. And they still take to this day on the side, like it's a huge mural on the side that just says Guy Fieri likes our cinnamon rolls. And it's just a huge picture, like a caricature drawing of his face, and you can get a mug that says drive-ins, and I don't know why I can't say that. Diners, drive-ins, and dives. Um, but that's like they literally 15 years later are just like they're honking this horn nonstop of like that's where Jimmy's down the street. Yeah, oh, the place that Guy Fieri went. Like they still do that. Um, but anyways, that's to me, I'm just like, man, it's just a fantastic opportunity. And how can you like take it and make it that purple cow and make it even more absurd, or make it's like the restaurants that have the spicy, like the super hot food that's a challenge, right? People don't come, not everyone comes to eat that, but they're like, oh, you're the place that has like the fireballs, right? And it's like, yeah, but that's on the menu, that's the purple cow, and then everyone else can just order our really good chicken wings or whatever, you know what I mean?
The initial push is always, you know, what brings in a certain type of person, but you have to have something behind other products as well in order to kind of keep a customer or keep something going. And I think, you know, with our pizza and his pizza and what he's doing, he's certainly got a product that people could enjoy beyond just the pineapple and anchovy pizza.
So, any other thoughts on this to wrap up? Like what I guess the last question I have, and again, if you have anything else to add, feel free. But what has surprised you the most about the last 5 days?
What surprised me the most is like I would say it wouldn't come to surprise, but it's a surprise to me because going through it, it's a surprise itself, right? Like because that little 3 minute segment that happened with it just being like mentioning, shouting us out and like eating our pizza, what kind of like life pivot this will bring if we can continue to stay on course with what this hot trend that's going on with the double pineapple anchovy, which I really feel like I really want to like capitalize on that because what he did for us is like something that's almost like life changing.
No, I certainly, me and him been having conversations since that day, and you have to initially just kind of have to go with it, and you can't prepare for anything like this. You can't ever, but and what I kind of told him was it's like a dream come true moment for anyone in any kind of industry. You could have said any product, it's not just pertaining to food or pizza. So like anytime you get free publicity like that, or anytime, a person of his magnitude is noticing your product or appreciating your product, and then along with that having Elon, it's just, I mean, you can't really anticipate that or ever plan for it. So right now I think the moment is just kind of going through whatever he's going through right now emotionally, but also planning and making sure whatever steps he could take to fortify all the success and go from there. And then with your ideas like shirts and stuff, I think having a marketing team or having someone that's there to help him with that would be, I think, the next step for him.
Yeah, I feel like the if I don't I'm not a t-shirt expert, but I feel like if you found there's got to be websites. Like my mind is like go to Fiverr, create. Actually, I would actually go to one of the AI tools and see if you can get a really terrible AI drawing of like
Like
drawing of
aliens and
Joe Rogan and
stuff.
Elon Musk eating a double pineapple anchovy pizza. Why I'm spacing on the name of the one that actually creates art. But anyways, the like how fast can you get a T-shirt? And then the other one I almost forgot to ask was Dave Portnoy. Like how do you get Dave Portnoy down
Oh
to
yeah.
try the double pineapple double anchovy pizza? Like you gotta like if you had a shirt, you email him or mail him the shirt, and then you just bug him until like he's gonna make it to Austin someday. Why would he not go review that pizza? You know. And now you've got three celebrities, and then you just keep going after like how many other celebrity testimonials can you get? You know. All right. So last question I ask everybody: do you have three? And each of you can do this. Three book recommendations for our listeners.
Oh yeah. So there's a couple of them that I'm actually getting into right now. There's a relatively small book that I've actually kind of been following on Instagram. These motivational like movers and like their business driven like mindset like therapy. I guess you would say channels that go through Instagram a lot is As a Man Thinketh. And then there's As a Man Thinketh, yeah, by James Allen. And then Think and Go Rich. And then there's another one that's called what was it? It's called Profit First.
And that, I think Profit First is by the guy who made Camping World. I can't. His name's Marcus
Marcus
something.
Lemonis. Oh man, that guy's freaking. This guy's freaking a mogul when it comes to helping businesses fortify their reestablishing their SOPs and this big 3P process that he believes in: people, product, and process.
That's awesome. And how about you, Dupree?
I think Rich Dad, Poor Dad is probably my number one choice all the time. I think just the background that we come from and the life that we kind of have. And then Art of War is just, another thing. I'm more into like strategy and all the, things like that, and always being about yourself and how you kind of see the world. And then basic economics. I
Is
think
that
those
the
are very important.
War of Art or Art of War?
Art of War. Art of War. Since it's,
Art of War. What's that one about?
basically, strategy of how to make yourself stronger in the world, and it comes from a warrior that killing people and all that stuff, but you can use it in a sense of life and how you attack life and how and he knows me like the way I am is I don't let anything affect me. How you solidify yourself as far as like feelings, emotions, and things like that, and not letting the daily like ups and downs of life kind of affecting you. I think those are very like the most basic books that I think everyone should read, just to have general knowledge and kind of grow from there. There's thousands of other books that we could all read, but I think every single person should kind of read those.
And what was the third one you said? After
Basic economics. Basic economics.
Economics.
Yeah, if you're into business. Yeah.
Awesome. And then last question: favorite movie for each of you?
For me, I'm more of I guess you can say science fiction kind of movie. Well, I wouldn't say if it's science fiction, I mean it's not true for sure, but non-fictional. It'll be the Avengers, man.
Avengers, nice. How about you, Dupree?
Apocalypto.
That's with Mel Gibson, right? Like
Yeah,
the
Mel Gibson.
native
Yep.
tribes, right?
Yeah,
it's a
that's yep.
fantastic movie.
Yep.
You want to talk about art of war right there, Apocalypto, man? Teach you how to survive.
Yes, sir.
Awesome, guys. Well, if someone wants to get in touch with either of you to whatever, say thank you, try your pizza, whatever, what's your preferred method that someone get in contact with you?
It'll be pretty much going on our website, mypizzaleon.com, and it'll be under contact us. We have our
mypizzaleon.com. Okay. And how about you, Dupree?
I would just say Instagram, Dupree Brar, DUPREEBRAR.
Awesome. We'll put those links down in the show notes below. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for taking the time to come on today, and keep us posted on how the next couple of weeks go and when you get that merch up, because I want to get a double pineapple, double anchovy t-shirt.
Yeah, man.
I think we got to find a way to get a pizza over to you if you're not coming down.
I know. How can you ship well, obviously it wouldn't be cooked, right? It'd have to be like frozen, sent over. And yeah, we are planning, my family and I are planning a RV trip in February, March timeframe, around, like, we're just going to go see a bunch of the national parks and stuff. I got to get to Georgia in March. So we're planning this like 8-week long RV trip. So I don't know if we were planning on stopping in Austin, but we have to figure out how to do that, because I gotta try the pizza. But anyways, guys, this is super fun.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Chris.
For the rest of you listening, I'm gonna put a link in, just because of my nerdy self and my business, a link to me analyzing in detail the Google review impact, because this is just, like I said, told both of you guys, this is just a hilarious like coincidence of like what we tell people all the time with their business. So for those of you interested in that, check it out. And thank you all for listening. We'll see you next time.
Chris.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you for your attention and listening to this episode of The Pursuit of Purpose. Your feedback and comments mean the world to me. If you liked what you heard, please take a second, leave me a 5-star review on iTunes. If you've got suggestions for future episodes or just want to say hi, shoot me an email at chris@chriskiefer.com. Don't forget, I make it a point to include all the links to the books, movies, and resources mentioned on this episode in the show notes. You can see those directly below in the description or on my website, chriskiefer.com. Thanks so much, guys.